good. So my name is Courtney Handel, and thank you for joining me for this first session of our winter warming series. And I'm really excited to have so many of you joining me today. This 15 minutes is for you. So first, start by giving yourself a pat on the back. You made it here today. And you're taking this time for yourself, and that is awesome. And I know often really hard to do. So I want to invite you to just take a moment to offer yourself, like I said, that praise, and then also think about something that you're grateful for today. For just a minute, what is one thing that you are grateful for today? And you can just ponder on that a little bit. You can write it down. You can throw it in the chat if you want. Just something that I think can be important, especially as we are in the winter season. Of course, here in Wisconsin, we've been blessed right now with a very mild winter, and the sun comes back every few days, and including today, it's popping out. So that is all good. But I also want you to take just a moment to reflect on previous winters and what was that mindset like for you? How did you feel? I know, I'm sure many of us can think to a time where winter was really hard to get through, right? Whether it was just so cold or so dark or so much snow. And, you know, for many people, winter's not the favorite season, though for some people it is. So think about how that feels compared to maybe a season of winter where you didn't feel the same, and try to think about maybe what was different for you. Obviously, there are many variables that can be different, but one thing that can be very common is just your mindset about winter. So I think if we go into winter with a different mindset, with things like trying to focus on being positive, trying to find, you know, the beauty or the joy in each day, trying to find something you're grateful for, some different ways so that you can really enjoy the season for what it is and how it plays out, that really makes it a lot better. And honestly, you could say the same about any season that you don't like, or anything in life, really, right? It's a lot about the mindset. Really changes how you go through that moment in life, whether it's, you know, really pushing through and really hard to get through, and you're dreading the whole thing and can't wait for it to be over, or if you can kind of, you know, enjoy it a little bit. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. Our theme is actually in particular Hygge, and the winter self-care mindset. So I will go ahead and get started with that. So what is Hygge, you might ask? Some people maybe have heard of it. Maybe throw me some type of reaction to like a heart if you've heard of it, and maybe that wow face if you've never heard of Hygge, just so we can kind of get a pull here, a grip on what the audience is seeing. Okay, actually I'm seeing a pretty good mix. Some people have heard of it, obviously more people who haven't, but more hearts than I would have expected, so that's good. So Hygge, you can see there it's spelled H-Y-G-G-E. It is pronounced Hygge, which is a little bit different, but that's kind of a common theme, you could say, for the Norwegian areas. Denmark, you might have heard, is associated with Hygge. They practice that a lot in the winter season. It's really how those northern countries survive their really long winter season. And we do tend to have a long winter season here. Theirs, of course, is even longer, darker, colder. So this is, like I said, really a concept and a mindset. And if you look up like definition of Hygge, there's no just like one word or phrase to define it. That's why you can see my second bullet point here has a lot of terms. I'm not going to read them all, but I will just sum it up in, like I said before, kind of finding the simple pleasures, simple joys of everyday life. And a lot of people also associate it with being cozy, right? So it, like I said, it's a good way to shift your mindset for winter and just kind of enjoying that season that you're in. And there are, of course, a lot of different ways that you can do that. And that's what we're going to spend most of our time on today. So, how to hygge, of course, like I said, making your space cozy, and that's both at work and at home. So I challenge you to think about, think about maybe your workspace first, because that's where we spend a lot of time. How can you make that space more cozy, more enjoyable to be in? There's a lot of different things you can do, whether it's bringing a soft lamplight or a salt rock or those little twinkly fairy lights, bringing a plant in. If you're not near a window, there's lots of plants that do pretty well with just the natural light. And so also including fake plants, that can be helpful too, just to see some of that nature coming inside. But I have heard of people as well who will bring in like a blanket or, an extra scarf that they keep in case it's cold, or an extra sweater, or even this one's maybe like a little more unique, I guess I would say, but I have heard of people who will bring slippers that they leave at work that they put on when they're at their desk, just to, really get cozy and help them focus more and be more creative. So really that reason for making your space cozy, like I said, is one, it makes you a little bit happier, but it also can improve your creativity. Other ways to kind of enjoy the season is taking this extra time that we have to be inward more, right? We spend a lot less time outside doing our gardening and yard work and whatnot. We spend more time just inside. So instead of just spending your evening hours watching TV, spending time trying a new hobby or a new project, maybe it's baking something new, doing a puzzle, doing a craft. All those things can help you just bring a new joy and a new light to the season. So if anyone has tips that they would like to share for how they make their office space cozy, or new hobbies or crafts or whatnot that you work on in winter, throw that in the chat, or of course, come off of mute as well, and share that with the rest of the group. And then the next thing I will say too is I will throw in the email some recipes for you to try that you might enjoy that kind of really tap into that essence of like cozy. So I'll throw those in the chat, but one is cardamom buns, and the other one is a turmeric latte. So just something new for you to try, and like I said, make your space cozy. Yeah, lots of stuff coming in the chat here, I see. Organized, yep, helps you stay more relaxed. Vacation pictures on your screensaver or around your workspace, that's awesome. Bringing in plants, yeah, I love that. Oh, and watering it as a group, I like that. So another part to this for really adapting this hygge mindset is nature, like I said. So one way is, of course, we can bring nature inside, whether that be plants or crafts that you're going to try. But another way is just getting outdoors as often as you can. Like I said, we've been very fortunate so far this winter here in Wisconsin that it's pretty mild. So we are able to get outdoors a little bit more, which is great. I hope you're taking advantage of that. But I really like this quote too. Nature calms you and allows you to reflect on the very essence of what living is about. I think that's really cool. And I think if you take a moment to go outside, you really can kind of feel the truth of that nature, and how much it can impact you and kind of change your perspective on things. Another thing too is making time for intentional togetherness, whether that is get people over at your house to gather in a cozy space or going out. There's a lot of places that have created those different like nooks that you can rent for a small group of people. And so that can be a good way to enjoy the season in a different way as well. And then of course, spending time doing like meditation, journal, gratitude, etc. And so I see someone joined a photo club online. Oh, I love that. That's really cool. Very cool. So another prompt is, how will you shift your winter mindset? Maybe a different way to phrase the question is that I want you to think about is how can you begin to savor this season a little bit more? Is there one goal that you have for yourself, one task? Feel free to, again, throw that in the chat. If you'd like, you could come off of mute as well. And I will just close that out by saying, with a personal story, all the way in, my younger, seems like a lifetime ago, high school and college days, I really hated winter, just despised winter. And I think part of it was because maybe I didn't want to wear like a bulky coat or stuff like that. So I wasn't really dressed appropriately for the season. And so that makes it uncomfortable, right? If you're not dressed appropriately and you're really cold, that makes someone grumpy. But I think I also just, I just had that mindset of like, winter equals bad. But then in college, at one point, I decided that, winter wasn't going away. And I had no choice but to walk, 3 to 5 or 6 blocks to get to wherever I needed to go on campus that day. And so it would be better to just make the best of it and enjoy it. And so I did start, trying to find something beautiful each day in that day, even if it was like ridiculously cold and I was grumpy that I had to walk to class and maybe they should have canceled class that day. This was before virtual was really an option. But I started to find that my attitude about winter was really shifting. So I think, like I said, that can be true in any season. But if you take a little moment to shift that perspective and find what is good in this, it can really help. So I challenge you to do that. Like I said, either think about how you're going to shift your winter mindset, or what kind of things you can do to help set up to make this season a little bit more enjoyable for yourself, whether it's your inside space or how you're engaging outside in the weather, or maybe both. So next week we will be talking about essential oils, and I will have Renee, who's one of our PAs here, and she is an expert in essential oils. She will be on. So if you have any questions, feel free to, for her on essential oils, feel free to throw them in the chat right away. But we will have some time reserved for questions next week with her as well. The week after that will be with Jill, and we will be talking about light and vitamin D. So same thing, I'll remind you as that week closes of, you can send questions ahead of time if you'd like, but we will have time at the end of each of those. And now, as we're coming to a close, I guess I will just ask, does anyone have any questions or anything that you'd like to say? You can come off mute, like I said, or you can throw it in the chat. Pause for just a second. Okay, nothing's coming in, but feel free to keep typing if you're typing a message. So I will give you a minute back, but I would like to invite you for just a quick moment here to maybe take a deep breath. Maybe close your eyes. Just take a minute to feel that breath rolling in and out. Feel how the belly rises with your inhale and then goes down with your exhale as you push all the air out. And then, again, let's just give one moment of gratitude for yourself for taking this time. I know it's hard to step away and it's easy to just dismiss things and move on. So thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you here again next week. If you do have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat or shoot me an email. Thank you.